You're listening to the Luxe Lounge Podcast, the official podcast of Urban Luxe Real Estate. And now, here are your hosts, Joe and Dave.
Welcome to episode 12 of the Luxe Lounge Podcast. Hope you like that introduction. I think it's pretty funny.
It's always a good time.
This is Joe Pascali, one of the co-owners with Dave Westbrook of Urban Luxe Real Estate.
How's everybody doing?
We are having a lot of fun with this little podcast. We're probably the only ones listening. Well, our wives.
That's true. I don't even know if my wife knows it's available.
But we're having a lot of fun with it. Real estate is kind of a job that a lot of people don't understand.
Yeah, you know, it's like going to work and bashing your head against your computer with no inventory coming on.
But people really have misconception of what we do. It's really fun when they get in the industry and they start and they go, okay, what do I do? Like, what should I do today?
Yeah, there's definitely, you need some motivation to stay working in this market.
I think people assume that we're kind of always out showing property.
Yep, I'm going to go show property this afternoon.
Well, you got a couple of houses to look at?
Yeah, I got four.
Just so people know, with our short inventory, what we have this year, of course, pandemic and some government-related issues, but interest rates are stupid low. They're still under 4%. People are complaining that it's creeping near 4%, and I remember 9%.
I think my first house, I had to do a first and a second right off the bat.
Yeah.
And first was probably 7. The second was 9 to 10.
Yeah, when they broke 10, there was a party. I'm old enough for the industry that I remember that. But people assume that we're always showing property. Actually, what we do a ton of the time is look for property.
Yeah, I mean, the amount of time we're on our computers right now is crazy.
Yeah, it's because we just never know if that house is going to pop on, you know, like today's Monday that we're filming this or recording this on. I know it probably comes out later in the week, but Monday morning, we're just hopeful. It's like Vegas.
Right. Yeah. What did you say the other day? It's like a slot machine every time you hit refresh on your browser.
But we're always kind of looking for that opportunity to see that property come up, and it's slim pickings.
Yes, it is.
What are you showing today?
I've got a buyer who we got her house under contract, and she is looking pretty much anywhere, which is kind of an interesting way to search because she's open to a lot of different locations. So we're going to be looking at some North Phoenix stuff around, 500 or so. I was just telling you, notice that the Turtle Rock community over at 32nd Street in Union Hills is up over 400 right now.
And those were old kind of, I think they sold them originally as senior living, but they didn't, again, I'm old enough to remember this. They didn't put it in the CCNRs correctly. It was supposed to be adult only, like a Sun City. Didn't put it in the CCNRs correctly. So these are really downsizing houses now that anybody can buy, but they're kind of 2-bedroom, 2-bath, a lot of them.
Yeah, and some of them 2-story, small lots. I mean, they're just like little townhomes, but crazy.
Yeah, I mean, we're obviously happy to sell anything, but I'm seeing neighborhoods that I used to live in, and I literally saw a house pop up. My first home in Phoenix was Shadow Ridge, built by Cavalier over near Tatum and Thunderbird, and it was a great first home. I would not live there now because I know those houses were just kind of honey-do list every weekend. They need a lot of work, and now they're even 20 years older, and they're going for $500,000.
It's just crazy.
I bought it for $140,000, and that was like every penny I had.
With a 12% interest.
We're going to focus on one of our agents today, John Gonzalez. John, how long have you been in the industry?
About 5 years.
Well, we've had him on before. He lives near Scottsdale and Cactus, a horse property, an acre. Hall Craft Build, I think, is the house.
Yep.
We're kind of talking about our local areas. We kind of want to talk about your journey in real estate because I open this saying that people think we do different things every day than we actually do. People assume we're always out showing property. And we're kind of letting people know that we spend a lot of time searching for property. So what does your journey look like?
Well, if you're talking about the journey, it's kind of led us to this market, right? And it's kind of changed. So the main my day.
There you go. In a nutshell, a day in life of a realtor.
I know it's tough, man. It's just really tough. But there are, you have these houses that are just going as high as what was just said a few minutes ago. But then you still have people that are still coming from California and other states that are willing to pay that and or more. So it's I guess I'm at a loss for words.
Well, I'll preface it back when I started. If you got $1 million deal done,
right,
you were a hitter. I mean, you were a great agent. there were so few $1 million properties in Phoenix. And I think Dave ran the numbers today. And what percentage is it?
30% of the homes for sale right now are over $1 million.
That says something.
Well, and as a realtor, that's a great thing because, our housing values are like, we're pushing the Californias and other states where as a realtor, you're going to have a higher sales, which is great. And, which is important too, because, you have to have an agent there that kind of understands that process. It's not, as the numbers get bigger, then it's more important to that seller and more important to that buyer. Right. So
I'm having a struggle right now. I've got clients going, hey, my realtor here in California said it's ridiculous that I can't find a home there for $1 million. They have, I think agents especially and buyers in other states are included into our values here. They think they should be able to steal something in Arizona. I mean, Dave, you've been doing this for how many years now?
9 years.
And prices got to be at double of when you started?
Oh, for sure. I mean, I think even just looking at houses in Old Town, I mean, we're seeing stuff for over $1 million for 1,800 square feet at 68th Street in Thomas.
Yeah.
Which is crazy.
And John, you got a listing you're working on coming up that's being $1 million, $2 million.
$1 million, $2 million in downtown. That one will go quick mainly because it's got that contemporary look. And I think part of the problem too that people are seeing when they come here is there's so many houses that are in the process of being remodeled and so many neighborhoods that are needing remodel. And I think as that continues, as more and more of that happens, I think that people look at those houses and go, oh yeah, that's worth $1 million too. That's worth $1.5 million. But I mean, we got to, I talk to all my friends that are remodelers and they're just busy because they know that that's starting to happen more and more.
So I saw a post this morning. Somebody posted the price of a sheet of plywood at Home Depot.
$60.
$96 for one sheet of 3/4 inch plywood.
Our contractor said it was cheaper. I was getting a quote to build an RV garage for a client. He said it's cheaper to build with block than wood. I've never seen that in my career.
I was like jaw dropped as soon as I saw it because we're trying to plan this big remodel in our house and I'm like, there's no way. The price is going to go up 30%.
Now, everybody who's out of Arizona should understand that here, if the house is 20 years old, it needs to be completely gutted. We do not do well with older homes. I know I live in other cities, Chicago, even these 100-year-old interiors, and people love it just that way with the lower ceilings and the wood walls and all this. Not here.
No, everybody wants brand new.
And we're still kind of in those grays and whites and shaker cabinets and quartz countertops and gray floors. But yeah, anything that's got a little age to it is not going to fly.
No, but in this market, though, if you're wanting to sell that, it will sell for more than it should.
Oh, it's the best time to sell an unremodeled house ever because you will get top dollar and you won't have to make any repairs. The buyer will just be happy to buy the house.
Well, and I think that's the conversation for the buyer. You've got to let them know that maybe it's a time to buy what you can get, and then maybe live in it for a couple of years and then remodel it when things get a little less crazy. I mean, if you want to live here, that's kind of where the market is.
I mean, think about this. So you might get in 2024, be like, man, you were so lucky to buy in 2021.
No doubt.
Such a great deal.
Oh, yeah. You never just know.
Well, we did that remember last year we had a bunch of people. I was like, you should have bought.
Well, during the boom, it was drive till you qualify. And that was the idea of just keep driving farther and farther away until you actually found a neighborhood you could afford.
Now you got to move to Casa Grande.
I'm actually going to Casa Grande on Thursday.
Dave's loving Casa Grande. I think our entire next podcast is going to be all about these outlying areas.
That's not a bad idea.
Yeah. Because you got to go.
Florence.
I hear it's beautiful this time of year.
Well, they're in prison, so
Right.
again, lots of jobs.
Right.
Lots of job opportunities. Our prisons grow. For those who don't know, Florence is a massive prison for the Phoenix area. So, yeah, if you could escape, but you'll probably die of heat exhaustion before you get to anything.
Yeah, nobody picks up the hitchhikers down there.
But other parts of town, Fountain Hills, whatnot. John, you've been lucky enough to do most of your business.
Mostly Scottsdale, Phoenix. That's kind of my bread and butter. But yeah, I've done a little bit on the outside. I think I bought a house out in, on the west side. But now, I mean, anywhere you can go, anywhere you can find business.
Yeah, we're going to find a house.
Yeah, to find a house, exactly.
And I think buyers are a little more flexible now.
Absolutely. I mean, it's It is what it is. If you want to buy a house, you're dealing with the market.
Well, and businesses are continuing to move here, so those people just have to find something.
Yeah, you're right. As long as the Starbucks opens up, you're good to go, right?
Exactly.
Hey, they got Starbucks, you're good to go. Home Depot, a Target. You got your 3 major stores.
Amen.
But let's talk about your neighborhood a little bit too. Horse property or old horse property and what's happening, because you're a very unique subdivision.
Yeah, that's that. And what we're seeing more and more, I keep hearing kind of, it's almost like the new Arcadia. I mean, that area, because Arcadia is, I mean, you're never going to find anything in there. But we have a lot of acre lots that need to be completely redone. I like a house across the street from me is the original 1,500 square foot, 3-bedroom, 2-bath on an acre. And they're about to make that a $2 million house. So a lot of that going on over there by Orange Tree Golf Course, and then surrounding areas. Still some opportunity. You're going to probably pay 5 or 10% over value, but heck, a year from now, if you do any work to it, you're going to make a lot of money on that property.
Those big acres, everybody wants multiple garage spaces. I mean, 3 is the minimum now.
Yep.
We're seeing RV garages. Great investment on a property if you can do an RV garage or that 4th car garage.
You were just talking about a property in Peoria that had 9-car garage.
Yeah, double deep RVs. So you could double RV garage. So you could put 6 there where the RVs are, or they're either 2 RVs and a 3-car garage. Actually, it's a 3, so it's a 7. Yeah. So, and I think there's another 2 on the back. So, and garage space is just key right now. And all the RVs, we hadn't talked about that too much, but people are loving those. I mean, I know the stock prices, and it's hard to find a Winnebago now, you know, but they got to have somewhere to park them, and no one wants to pay for storage.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then the toys. I mean, the Can-Ams. I mean, Arizona is great if you want to get out, you know.
Yeah, between the horses and
Oh yeah, because where you are, it's still horse trailers.
all the all the toys, all the cars. I mean, all the classic car guys come to Arizona. I mean, it's a place to be.
Well, heck, I probably insure like 5 cars and a boat. I don't know where they're all parked.
Exactly.
Yeah, where is that boat?
That's Steve's house. Steve, if you're listening, thanks for holding the boat, buddy.
So, John, tell us a little bit about your experience before getting into real estate, and then how it's kind of changed from when you first got in.
Well, I came from a sales background. I was in IT sales and for years, and then I became a wholesaler in the remodel business. So, when you come into real estate, especially when we came in, things were great. Things were kind of moving and shaking. You kind of just get out there and work. But obviously real estate, it's cyclical. Things happen. Things change in the market, and you got to be ready for those. And
You didn't plan for COVID?
No, I did not.
What were you thinking?
Or the lack of houses. And so that's probably the most interesting thing about this is just staying focused and staying patient. I think patient is a big thing, and just keep working in real estate to kind of reach out to the clients and people that that you've done business with before, and kind of the good work you did for them, and just trying to stay out there and relevant, because I have a feeling, as we both know, that this will change and things will pick up. And it'll be really interesting because 6 months, a year from now, who knows what's going to happen?
Oh yeah. I mean, I've been doing this for 24 years. So I've seen it go every kind, tidal wave to a glimmering stagnant pond.
Well, remember, people are still having babies, and people are still having people that are graduating, and people are still living or dying and doing whatever. This market's going to get crazy eventually because everyone's just kind of stuck. And I think when that happens, we'll be having a very different conversation on this radio program.
So, Dave, you do a month in Newport.
Correct.
And I know Newport's beautiful. Could you see yourself living there 12 months a year with traffic if you had to actually...
No, I couldn't.
There?
I could retire there, but I wouldn't spend all year there. And I'd have to live by the beach so I didn't have to drive everywhere every day.
Amen.
Yeah.
So I think if you're more than 5 miles inland, just not worth living there.
Yeah. And the reason I bring that up is because we talk about cities. Like right now, we're talking about some things that other cities are doing for mask mandates and all kinds of things and how that affects us. Because every time they tighten up somewhere else, we tend to get an influx. Or they raise taxes somewhere else, we tend to get an influx.
Well, that's the nice thing about Arizona. It's always been kind of a freer state, kind of a state that gives you a little more freedoms. They look, that's the way Arizona has always been, kind of like Texas and others. And they're,
Yeah.
a little
And
less.
from the time you hit the airport, you could be on the beach in hour and 40 minutes.
From where?
Right? from here?
From here.
Oh, to Newport? 45 minutes.
My favorite thing is living in Arizona. You can 5 hours and 50 minutes with the 5 hours and 15 minutes with the kids. You're on the beach in Carlsbad, my happy place,
And all your stuff.
and all my stuff. It's great. I mean, I don't have to. And my favorite thing is to talk to people that actually live in California. And I'm like, how many times do you go to the beach? And they're like, once a year. And I'm all going, well, I go way more than that. Don't spend all your taxes and all the other stuff and deal with the traffic.
Only problem with we go to the Hotel Del in Coronado, and it takes longer to wait for an Uber than it does to fly there. I'm a little spoiled now. You know, they got the boogie boards waiting for you, and they put those chairs up on the beach, and I'm getting a little old.
Well, Dave, did you tell me, you showing me something the other day where they're building a surf park here in Arizona? Is that you were showing me something.
There was talks of a surf park, and then you showed me that lagoon thing this morning.
That would be, that's in Texas, but I don't know. They're I don't know. They'll come up with something here in Arizona, and we'll be on the beach, and like we need more reason to people to move here.
I think to us in Texas are becoming like sister states.
Amen.
Well, if they think their state's a country, right? It's the country of Texas.
Yeah, they were a country.
Well, if you drive through
I'm
it,
actually
it
from
feels like it's
Texas,
big enough to be its own country.
And nothing against New Mexico, but I'd rather drive through Texas.
Yeah, there you go. Exactly.
But we talk about our bordering states and how we get that influx, but we're also getting, they raise the taxes in Illinois, Minnesota, and craziness in Seattle and Portland. It's driving a lot of traffic here, not just the Californians. Californians tend to have more cash and disrupt our market more. So we talk about them more often.
I think I saw the other day that we were the second hottest market in the country for real estate.
Is Florida one?
I think Florida beat us.
Okay. Yeah, Florida, again, we're seeing movement for political reasons, and I've never seen that in my whole career. And again, tied to taxes and freedoms and whatnot. And no matter which way you go on that spectrum, Arizona's a pretty easy place.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
Yeah.
Cost of living's low, or at least it is for now.
For now. Well, the way we are do our taxes, a lot of people don't understand we don't readjust our taxes every time a house sells. So some people come from other states think, well, as soon as I buy it, the taxes are going to be reflective of what I paid for it. And that's not the case. They're done by subdivision and city. Because if you buy in California, you get that readjustment. It might be staggering if that person that you bought from lived in that house for a very long time. They're in there for 30 years. Your taxes are going to be significantly different than theirs were. And John, you're you're originally Texan, right?
I am Army brat, born in San Antonio.
Wow.
And actually just got back from Katy, Texas, and this weekend, and it was a good time. They're building like crazy there. I mean, it's insane. So obviously between here, there, and Florida, we need to build more, I would say.
Yeah.
Well, at $100 a sheet for plywood.
Might be holding people back.
We are one of the largest states of government-owned property.
Interesting.
Huge percentage of Arizona is owned by the government.
Mm-hmm.
And if you, like me, likes to hike, you'll find a lot of open land that you can hike on because it's all state or federally owned. But again, we have a lot of land to build on, and we just haven't tapped into it yet. But even if you're driving through Phoenix, especially North Scottsdale, you're going to see huge tracts right in great areas that are completely undeveloped and probably just not for sale yet from the state. But that would help.
Anything would help right now.
Yeah, because you're going to Casa Grande.
I'm going to Casa Grande. Thanks for reminding me, Joe.
Now, that city has not touched Phoenix because there's a reservation in between.
It's going bonkers down there, though, too. I mean, there's stuff, everything's selling within hours.
Yeah.
So I may actually not end up going to Casa Grande because we're not going until Thursday.
Oh, yeah. Might be sold before you get there. For buyers to tell us, hey, something just hit the market, there's a really good chance it's sold by the time we look it up, which might be 15 minutes. So I've got one new one I put on today. Just got my 4th showing request. I put it on at 9 o'clock. So we're 3 hours into the showing. Into the day, and I've got 4 showings already. I should have it sold by tomorrow.
Where are those guys going?
They are going to, it's a kind of a new couple, and they're each selling their homes and going to something bigger.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
So it's still happening. That's good to see.
Yeah, but they're selling a $800,000 and a $500,000 and going into about $1.2 million.
There you go.
But that was not their budget. They thought they could be at $850 and realized very quickly for what they wanted, the combination of everything would get them well over $1 million. But with interest rates, they're surprised that their payment's not too bad. Living the payment.
I'm even seeing some jumbo stuff in the low 3s.
They did say jumbo loans are getting a little easier to get now. and a little more attractive. Do we want to jump a little bit right now?
Anything north of 548? I think.
Are we going to see some movement in that in Arizona, probably in Phoenix soon?
In terms of
How high? Because
well, that's all controlled by the Fed, and they do that. It seems like every year that
Yeah.
they've been, or the last 3 years, they've had increases in
Right.
FHA loan amount and jumbo loan amounts.
So
that'd be
Johnny,
helpful.
with your clients, what are you telling them right now? Is it fear? Is it opportunity?
Well, I think they're fearful, but at the same time, you just got to educate them. You got to let them know, if let them know the opportunities, and then they might go, oh, I didn't realize that. I mean, that's the key to this, right? I mean, if you have a seller, hopefully they have multiple properties, or if they have any rental property, just kind of getting with them and letting them know, in this quote unquote almost bubble market, as high as the things are going, that maybe now's the time that you might want to consider getting out if you were going to get out.
Yeah, that's that term, bubble market. I mean, I don't know what's going to happen, but my house went up $100,000 in the last 3 weeks. Probably not sustainable.
No, but I think, if we look back and when you were working the boom before, it's supply and demand, and it's not necessarily a loan issue like it was before. So it's...
Yeah, I don't think we're going to have a crash.
Yeah, I don't think so either.
Again, we're recording this, so probably don't record this session because that could be wrong. But I don't see any reason for one. We got such an influx of people. We're in a shortage nationwide, and this time it's not investors buying up all the property. They're willing to let them go if a foreclosure market happens.
Well, and that, and everybody has equity in their house, and we all know that. So
Yeah, so and for people who don't understand that one, if you have equity in your house, you don't ever go to foreclosure. You just sell your house.
exactly.
You pull the cash out, you go somewhere cheaper. But
We were talking with an agent last week that was thinking that there was a big foreclosure deal coming. And we're like, well, not in Arizona. Everyone's got too much equity.
Well, I think that's across the United States. I don't.
Oh yeah, but this was his coach is out of state, and the advice he was getting from a person that doesn't live in Arizona, saying, "Well, I think of a foreclosure market." Now, if 600 foreclosures hit the market today, I think we'd absorb it in about 5 days.
Yeah. And then we'd be right back to where we were.
Yeah,
Exactly.
It'd be a bump for us. It might flex prices a little bit, but not by much. And there's such a shortage right now that I know that I could eat up about 17 of them. just with my clientele.
Yeah, I think more of the issue is going to be when and I know we're talking that's probably in September when forbearance is going to end, and or maybe where you have to pay rent. I think that's going to be a more interesting time when there might be more property at that point, because at that point you're not getting free rent, or you're not having to pay rent, and or you're not having to pay a mortgage. So at that point you might go, hey, I need to now downsize, as opposed to not paying anything.
And that's probably the only trigger we see coming up.
Yeah. I mean, if you're thinking about selling, you really need to know where you're going to go. I mean, if you've got the opportunity to maybe buy an RV and go travel around for a few months, trust your agent to find you the right house if it pops up. That's your best bet.
Yeah, or again, like John said, if you have multiple properties, if you're a landlord and those leases are coming up, might be a good time to sell those.
Absolutely.
You might be able to sell them with the tenant in there. We're selling a lot of property right now, and legally we don't like it, but leasing back. A lot of people are selling their home with a month lease back or a 2-month lease back to give them time to go find a house. So there's creative ways to get around it. Don't think you're stuck in a property just because you got nowhere to go.
And that's why, do something like that. You have to have a good agent, because there are some concerns in doing that. So you got to make sure you have somebody that really knows, how to educate you in doing something like that.
Yeah, getting 10 or 12 offers on a property in one day is not an easy agent task.
Yeah. Who wants to look at, I think I said one of the agents that we know got 78 offers over the weekend on one of their properties.
Did they respond to all of them?
They had to.
As a no?
Probably work with the top 5 and then tell everybody else, sorry, you didn't make the cut.
And that's one thing of not underpricing your property right now. You're just leading yourself into a world of...
We're going to take this off the market and start again.
Oh, I've seen a lot of agents put them on way too low, and they just create these 100 offer weekends, and they think that's good. And I don't think it helps anybody, but...
Well, and you just said something interesting that I just popped into my head. That's actually one of the conversations that I'm having with people that have a house. I let them know, if you are ever going to get the highest for your house, now's the time. I mean, you literally could throw a number $100,000 over what you're thinking, and you might actually get an offer.
Oh yeah, you'll get an offer.
It may be close to that. I mean,
and we have a high cancellation rate right now. I have one house in a little cute original house built in the 50s, but no work has really been done to it. We're on the 3rd buyer right now because it's not the right house for everybody. Although every buyer is making an offer. just because there's scarcity out there. Once I see the inspection report and things that need to be done in that house, we found out that the house was built in 1950. In 1953, they recalled the electrical panel, but these people never changed it.
They got
I know that
Federal
panel.
Pacific.
What panel was it? You remember that? I've seen that one.
Yeah, but it's kind of funny when you have a panel that got recalled 70 years ago.
It hasn't caused a fire yet.
Exactly, that's what I said. Look, the house is still standing.
Exactly.
Well, good. Well, John, we just wanted to kind of bring you in today, talk about your little journey here. We really respect you as an agent. Your numbers are fantastic. Your clients love you. You've got some cool stuff coming up, and I know you're going to have a good year. John's always here. So this is a guy that doesn't take time off. Feel free to give him a call. We're happy to recommend him to any client.
Yeah, and as I say to all the people I talk to that are looking to help to buy or sell real estate, if your realtor is not full-time and or not an expert in the area you're in, you may need to find a new realtor and just call John Gonzalez. And I will let you know if I don't sell in Casa Grande, so I may have Dave take you out there because I don't do business in Casa Grande.
So if they want to reach you,
That's not my expertise.
best way to reach you on your cell number?
602-614-9683. Give me a call or text.
John, thanks for being part of the Luxe Lounge podcast.
All righty. Well, thanks again. We'll see you soon.
Thanks, John. Appreciate you.
All right, Dave, we about ready to wrap this one up?
Think so.
Another fun week.
Can't go wrong in real estate.
I'll talk to you next week. We're out.
Have a great day, Joe.
Thank you.
Thank you for listening to the Luxe Lounge Podcast, the official podcast of Urban Luxe Real Estate, located in Old Town Scottsdale, Arizona. If you'd like to support the show, please give us a 5-star review on your podcast player of choice, follow the show on Instagram, or subscribe to the YouTube channel. If you have questions for Joe and Dave, feel free to write in to luxloungepod@gmail.com. We may talk about your question on the show. If you would like to learn more about Urban Luxe Real Estate, please visit our website, urbanluxre.com, for more information. This podcast was produced by T-Door Productions. Intro music by Doug Maxwell. Outro music by Track Tribe.